What's up, guys, and welcome back to my reading journey. Hope you're all doing fine, and today we're gonna continue with the fifth part of a Blackjack bargainer. So let's do this. At 3 o'clock in the morning, they brought him back to his office, shorn and unconscious. The sheriff, the sportive deputy, the country clerk, and the gay attorney carried him. The chalk-faced man from the valley acting as escort. On the table sat one of them, and they deposited him there among their litter of his unprofitable books and papers. Yancey thinks a lot of a pair of deuces when he's liquored up, sighed the sheriff reflectively. Too much, said the gay attorney. A man has no business to play poker with who drinks as much as he does. I wonder how much he dropped tonight. Close to 200. What I wonder is what he got at. Yancey ain't had a cent for over a month, I know. Struck a client, maybe. Well, let's get home before daylight. He'll be all right when he wakes up, except for a sort of beehive about the cranium. What's the cranium? The gang slipped away through the early morning twilight. The next sight to gaze upon the miserable Gory was the orb of day. He peered through the uncurtained window, first deluging the slipper in a flood of faint gold, but soon pouring upon the mottled red of his flesh and searching white summer heat. Gory steered half unconsciously among the table's debris and turned his face from the window. His movement dislodged a heavy law book which crashed upon the floor. Opening his eyes, he saw, bending over him, a man in a black frock coat. Looking higher, he discovered a well-worn silk hat, and beneath, in the kindly, smooth face of Colonel Abner Coltrane. A little uncertain of this outcome, the colonel waited for the other to make some sign of recognition. Not in 20 years had male members of these two families faced each other in peace. Gory's eyelids puckered as he strained his blurred sight toward the visitor, and then he smiled serenely. Have you brought Stella and Lucy over to play? He said calmly. Do you know me, Yancey? Asked Coltrane. Of course I do. You brought me a whip with a whistle in the end. So he had 24 years ago, when Yancey's father was his best friend. Gory's eyes wandered about the room. The colonel understood. Lie still, and I'll bring you some, said he. There was a pump in the yard at the rear, and Gory closed his eyes, listening with rapture to the click of its handle and the bubbling of the falling stream. Coltrane brought a pitcher pitcher of the cool water and held it from for him to drink. Presently Gory set up a most forlorn object. His summer suit of flax soiled suit of flax soiled and crumpled. His discreditable disc, disc, discreditable head tousled and unsteady. He tried to lay one of his hands toward the colonel. Excuse everything, will you? He said. I must have drank too much whiskey last night and gone to bed on the table. His brows knitted into a puzzled frown. Out with the boys a while? Asked Coltrane kindly. No, I went nowhere. I haven't had $1 to spend in the last 2 months. Struck the demijohn too often, I reckon, as usual. Colonel Coltrane touched him on the shoulder. A little while ago, Yancey, he began, you asked me if I had brought Stella and Lucy over to play. You weren't quite awake then, and must have been dreaming. You were a boy again. You are awake now, and I want you to listen to me. I have come from Stella and Lucy to their old playmate, and to my old friend's son. They know that I'm going to bring you home with me, and you will find them as ready with a welcome as they were in the old days. I want you to come to my house and stay until you are yourself again, and as much longer as you will. We heard of you being down in the world and in the midst of temptation, and we agreed that you should come over and play at our house once more. Will you come, my boy? Will you drop our old family trouble and come with me? Trouble, said Gory, opening his eyes wide. There was never any trouble between us that I know of. I'm sure we've always been the best friends. But good Lord. Colonel, how could I go to your home as I am, a drunken wretch, a miserable, degraded, spendthrift, and gambler spendthrift. He lurched from the table into his armchair and began to weep maudlin tears, mingled with genuine drops of remorse and shame. Coltrane talked to him persistently and reasonably, reminding him of the simple mountain pleasures of which he had once been so fond, and insisting upon the genuineness of the invitation. Genuineness of the invitation. Finally, he landed Gory by telling him he was counting upon his help in the engineering and transportation of large amount of fallen timber, felled timber from a high mountainside to a waterway. He knew that Corey had once invented a device for this purpose, a series of slides and chutes. 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 No idea what is this. Alright. Upon which he had justly prided himself. In an instant, the poor fellow, delighted at the idea of his being of use to anyone, had paper spread upon the table and was drawing rapid but pitifully shaky lines in demonstration of what he could and would do. Alright, guys, story goes on. It's gonna be 2 more parts. Yeah. See you tomorrow on the next part. Thank you for joining me today. Bye.